I have started the recording. Okay. Today we are going to learn about the dynamically changing UI elements. Suppose you want to change dynamically in order to make the web page dynamic based on the user interactions. You want to do something, right? Like you want to hide or unhide the UI elements, or you want to make visible, you want to disable, you want to enable it, you want to change whatever you want to do, you can do. That is called dynamically changing UI elements based on user interaction. Suppose user has done something on the screen and you have written some function or anything to it, based on the user interaction it gets changed. That is called as dynamically changing UI elements. It can be you enabling, disabling, like whatever the types of things that you can do. Okay, whatever you want to do, you can do dynamically. We'll see in the next slide. We'll see what we can change at runtime. See, changing properties at runtime. Before this, what we'll do is we'll log in and start the dev space. It will save some time for us. Vivek, have you done that exercise that I have given on last Friday?
Yeah, no, Harish. My grandfather expired and I was busy.
Okay.
I'll
This
do
week,
it tomorrow.
are you free?
Yeah, this week I am
Or
free. Do it.
okay, you need to try this thing, because whatever we are learning, this is the exercise. Whatever we are going to learn in the next classes, this is the extent that will be the extension of this application. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
because it means we'll develop an application from scratch. So this is the first step in our application. So this you have to do. Otherwise, you can't understand in the next classes if we are doing something.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, sure. Yeah.
You can do this week and you can show me on Tuesday or Wednesday, next Wednesday. Okay. If
Yeah,
you
I'll
sit,
complete tomorrow or day after
yeah,
tomorrow.
if it's possible. Means
Yeah.
it's an half an hour work, because I don't know how much work you have at office. You need to. uh,
No,
uh,
no, I am not working.
okay, okay, then you can sit 1 or 2 hours to complete this. Okay.
Yeah, I'll complete it.
Yeah. See, what are all the properties that we can change at runtime is we can enable and disable. Actually, in the last class, we have already seen how to enable and disable input field. We can show or hide, means we can visible or make invisible to the user. Automatically populate the value on another field. Suppose you have a first name and another field called second name, and you want to automatically display the full name in the third field. You can easily do that by taking the value of first name, last name, and then you can, after by combining the both, you can show that I'm in third field. Okay. Setting dynamic text, and means you want to set the value dynamically. Suppose if the value is something else and you want to change the value using dynamically, that also you can do. Error message if the user is giving any value which other than what you need. Suppose you have given them, you want to allow them only characters, but the user is entering numbers, you can give them error message for that. And you can also make a field editable, non-editable. Okay, like this we have many properties which you can change at runtime. Yesterday already we have seen some examples. Today we'll see all these steps. Okay. Okay, I didn't open yet. Rajiv, did you call her and asked about the server access?
See, there is a person who pinged me, Aarti, someone ACTE. And
Okay.
did you get a server access? She asked. So
Hmm.
I said no. And then after she called me, and then nothing happened.
See,
She basically
they asked
meeting.
me to start the class, but no server access. I told them, I actually, when the last week when they called me to start the class, I was busy in some my family functions, so I told I'll start from next week, but they insisted me to start this week only. But they want to start the class, but they are not providing the server. How is it possible? I don't know how they are what they are doing. If they want to start the class earlier, they should provide the server also earlier, right? Okay, this is the we can change the properties at runtime, and another one is introduction to layouts. Okay, introduction to layout means see, if you see the definition here, you can easily understand a layout is a mechanism that helps you to organize and structure the user interface components of an application. Suppose if you didn't use the layouts in your application, your input fields, whatever the UI controls that you are using in your application, looks clumsy, and the user interface is not that much friendly. Suppose if you are giving a label and a text, a label and an input, it looks okay. But if you are having another input and label, it comes after that, not it comes not on the next line. So layouts are the another different types of UI element, where there are many different types of layouts which you can use them, and you can arrange your UI controls in a structured or in a means you can make your application very much friendly, user friendly. Okay, now once it's open, we are going to see how we can change the properties at runtime. Okay, we are going to see how we are going to change the properties at runtime. Before that, we need to develop this application. Where is the text size? Okay, I'll not going to develop all these things. We'll develop 1 2 3 or 4 or 5 fields, then we'll look into the next step. Okay, I have already have this input, so I'm removing this. Okay, I'm creating a first label. See, if you don't remember these tags and all, you can simply go to SDK demo kit. SDK demo kit. Samples, API reference, SA label, right? We are using label UI control. So label, label, this is the label, and properties. Label we have already declared, and we want the property text. Okay, I'm using the property text equal to, what is the first input field? It's a name. Okay, name, name. Why it's giving error? Because we haven't given ID. Okay, label of, why it's giving error? The label class can't have an empty ID attribute when flex enabled is true. Okay, then we'll try ID equal to ID. Okay, but we don't want to give ID for
Just
label,
label one.
so I'm not giving any label. Input field I'm giving, I don't want this. I will close here itself. Input, and we need to give ID for the input, because we'll call this UI control with the help of ID. ID name. Yesterday I have told what is camel case, so you need to always use the camel case only. And we have created one label. Now we'll run and we'll see how this looks like. You can, okay, this is
Closing
the
tag
app.
is not
You can
properly
preview
defined.
application.
Closing tag.
Yeah, Rajiv, you are saying something?
No, closing tag is having a space. XML.
No, it's not an issue. It was giving error because it doesn't have ID. But we don't want for label we don't want ID, so we'll just ignore it.
Okay, okay.
See, name, you have this input field. So what I'll do is I'll give the width equal to
20.
Yeah, 20 or 30, whatever. Okay.
Let's say 30 was very big.
Okay. Next we'll create a new field called label text equal to, what is the next field? Okay, we'll make the first field as first name. Okay, first name, and this is, we'll call id as f name. Id f name. Text is first name, last name. Okay, and input is id equal to idl name. Okay, and width is 20%. Okay, and the next, again a new label called text equal to full name. Okay, and input is input id equal to id, and we are going full name as id, and width is 20. Okay, and I don't want the user to edit this field. Editable equal to false. Okay, and the next one is label text text equal to, what is the next one, age. Okay, I'm giving input.
Harish, one query.
Okay.
When we are writing this properties,
Hmm.
so we should write in the main view only, right? Main dot view, not in the app dot view, correct?
Yeah, app dot is just a container, you don't need to change
Yeah,
anything in the app.
app dot view. Okay,
Lab,
that's the requirement.
label text equal to, what is the next field, place of birth. Okay, where it is, place of birth, input text equal, sorry, input id equal to id pob, width equal to 20%. Okay, now I'm closing this. Let's see how our app is looking like. See, it's not coming one by one after another. It's coming on the same line because we haven't used any layout. Okay, let this be like this only. In the next, when we go to the next session, we will arrange them. Okay. Now what we want to do. What is the first? We will put a one button here. Okay. Are you able to hear any sound?
Yes, Harish.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear.
Hello.
Yes, Harish.
Yeah. Now there is no voice, no sound, right?
Yeah, it's radio silent now.
Yeah. See, now what we'll do is we'll also put one footer here where the user can submit. Okay. Footer means it will be in the, it will be here. Okay. That is also, you can say it as a layout only. Okay. We'll use one footer. For footer, we have already some examples. Where is footer? Okay. overflow toolbar. See, this is called as footer. Okay, see here you have the footer. We'll copy all these things and you can just paste it after the content. Okay, what you want just a button called submit. Okay, I'll remove all the other buttons. Why it is giving error? Toolbar spacer can't have an empty id. Okay, button. Okay, all these things we can ignore because all are just for id. All those errors are just for id. So I'm refreshing. Now you'll see a footer here with one button called accept. Okay, now you can see a button called accept. What I'll do is I'll make the button as submit, and the button type is, type means if you give accept it will show in the green color. If you give any other color, it means if see you can see it in a green color, right? If you give reject it will be in red color. So what I'm giving is there is another property called emphasized. I'm giving that property emphasized. Okay, this is the property. See, now you can see it in a blue color. Okay, now what I want to do is when the user is first will go with the flow that they have mentioned, not this one. Enable disable input field at runtime. Okay, now you want to suppose when the user clicks on it and you want to remove this field. Okay, suppose if you want to make the first name and last name and as mandatory, you can give a star mark here by setting one property called required equal to true. Okay, for input if you give required equal to true, it will automatically give a star there, which means it is indicating that it's a mandatory field. Oh, why it's not showing? Okay, label for label for you need to give here id. C. Okay, we are giving here label, we are giving here input, but it doesn't know where is the label of this input. So for that you need to mention this is the label for this input. Okay, if you want to use this property you need to have the label for also. What is the which for which label for which input? This is the label for input id l name. Okay, so you need to mention here l name. These are all the properties that you need to understand if you go to the SDK. Okay, as I have already told in my last class, all you need is SDK. Okay, suppose now I'm entering first name last name because these are the mandatory fields. Now if the user is clicking on submit without filling all this first name and last name, what you need to do, you need to throw an error to the user that you haven't filled the first name or last name. Okay, so what we'll do is now we'll write a some function for submit. Okay, let's do that. On press. Okay, now we need to press. What should happen when the user press? I'm giving one function called on submit press. Okay, I'm using this on submit press. Now I am writing some function in on submit press function. Okay, Now you need to check if we need to check if this dot get view by id. What is the id of first name? What is the id of first name? This is the id of first name. Okay,
Idea
you
for
need to take that id and put it here, and you need to get that value. Okay, and you are checking if the value is empty. Empty means this is the empty. Then you are throwing an error. How we are throwing? We are setting one error. This dot get view dot by id of id f name. Id f name dot. There is one property called set value state. Set value state. Okay. If you go to the API reference in the if you type input here, normal input. So if you see the methods, you can have the where is set set value state will all set value state text is there, but set value state. Okay, this is another one. Like this we also have the set value state as well, and here you need to mention as error. Okay, then it will give the red border, and this dot get view by id, and now we are putting id f name dot set value state message. Set value state text, sorry, set value state text. What is the text that we want to give? If the user has and if the user has forgotten to insert the mandatory field, we need to give one message called please enter first name. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm submitting. See, if you see the border is red, and if you place something it will giving you the error. Please enter first name. Okay, same thing you need to do for last name as well, because those are mandatory fields. I'm just changing the ID. I'll just change the ID because the code is same. IDL name, IDL name, IDL name, and here you need to mention last. That's it. Okay, now I'm submitting the first name, last name. I'm didn't entering anything, but I'm submitting it. See, it has given two errors. Please enter first name, please enter last name. Okay, suppose I'm entering anything. I've entered two values. Uh, but even if I submit, that error is not going. User has entered, but still the error is popping up because we haven't handled if the user has entered anything. So what we need to do is, in case of if the user has entered anything, you need to write that in else. If the suppose if the user is entered anything, it will go inside this. If the user has didn't entered anything, it will go inside this. If the user has entered something, then it will automatically goes to the else case. In the else case, we need to remove the value state text as well as the error border. So we'll copy this, and what we'll do is, in case of error, we'll put it as none, which means it will not show you any border. And if you remove this text, it will. Okay, if you want to remove this, you can just pass blank data. Okay, and in case of here also, You can do the same thing. IDL name, IDL name, IDL name. Okay. Now I'm refreshing my application. Now let's see. Now if I didn't enter anything and when I'm submitting it, it was giving an error. But when I'm entering anything, when I'm trying to submit it, the error is gone because I have submitted, but I have entered some values. Okay. Now we are going to look at another example. Suppose the user has entered the first name, the user has entered the last name. Now if you see the full name here, you can't enter anything because we have made that field as editable equal to false, means which you can't enter. So what my functional specification is that when the user is entering the first name followed by last name, you want to uh, populate automatically the full name by combining the first name and last name, which will do that now. Okay. Where you need to write on change. Okay, here on change, sorry, in case we need to write for input, change equal to on name, on uh, on name change. Okay, same property we are giving to the last name as well, same function. Okay, in main controller we'll write this function on name change function. Okay, we are get first, what we'll do is we'll get the first name where f name, we are declaring a variable and we are storing that value in one variable by id. What is the id? It is id f name. Okay, and what I'm doing, I'm getting value, get value. Okay, we'll get that value in f name. Now what we want to do, we want to get the l name as well. L name equal to this dot get view by id, and we are getting id l name. Okay, get value. Okay, so I got fname and lname. How I can combine the two values using concatenate? You can use the plus operator to add. Okay, you can use like this, lname. But before, if you didn't give anything, suppose if you have the lname as Harish and fname as Harish and lname is Kumar, and if you are adding by plus, it will become like this, Harish Kumar. You want some space between the Harish and Kumar, right? So in order to do that, you need to give some space. Okay, and then you need to give plus. Okay, this is like how we can add. Okay, now I want to set this value to which id? The id of the id of last name input. What is the last name input here? This id full name is the input. Okay, and how, what I'm doing, I'm not getting a value, I'm setting a value. So set value, and in those round brackets I need to mention this. Okay, I am reviewing this, I am putting semicolon. Now my app is running. It's not a live change, it's a change, means you if you have it will trigger only if you entered everything, and when you go to the next field it will trigger that time. Okay, now I am entering Harish. See, it's automatically populated. If I enter Kumar, it's automatically adds up to it. Okay, now the full name is Harish Kumar, it's automatically doing this. Okay, suppose if I change this value, it's automatically going off. If I remove this, again this is also automatically going off. Are you understanding, Rajiv and Vivek?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but see, when you are when you didn't enter anything and you are trying to submit it, what it's giving an error. But when you enter something, on that time only it should go off these errors, right? You can't wait till the submit and then this error should go off. It's not like that. Okay, you should that error should go away when you are entering something, because you have entered, but still it is giving please enter your first name, which is the wrong. So this border should go on live itself. Okay, when you are doing something only it should go. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create a live change function. Live change. Okay, on live change, and what I'm doing on name, sorry, on name live change. Okay, I'm giving the same, I'm giving the same function to lname as well, because these are the only two mandatory fields on and live change. So what I'm doing is I'm writing here function. In the function I'm passing the event. In the event, okay, where name equal, sorry, o event dot get source dot get value. Okay, if we'll write if here, if o event dot get source dot value double equal to, sorry, triple equal to or double equal to, you can use anything, empty, then you need to do this thing. Not equal to, right? Okay, sorry, not equal to, then you need to do this thing, o event dot get source. We are not using the id, if because we are using the same function for both the inputs. If you uh, if you use if you use this, it will trigger that one. If you use this, it based on the event, means based on the ui element that you are controlling, it will automatically goes to that ui element based on the event. Okay, suppose I am submitting it. Okay, you have this error, but when I'm entering, because we have used line change, it will automatically goes out if I enter anything. See, it's become normal. If I enter anything, see, it's also gone up. And this is a live change. Whatever you do live, whatever you do, it affects lively. It's not going to affect when you are clicking here. Okay, and this is the one. Suppose if now when the user is submitting it, what is the next one? What are the next? Enable, disable, show, why? Okay, when the user is clicking on submit and you want to enable or disable some fields, you can do that. Okay, when the user is clicking on submit, what is the submit function? This is the submit function. um, when the user is clicking, when the user is submitted, you want to uh, what you want to do is you want to remove the place of birth. Okay, that you can do by simply this dot get view by id, and you can simply call that place of birth id and set visible. Set visible means if you give true, it will be it will show. If you give false, it will remove that id from the screen. And at the same time, if you want to make any field edit enabled or disabled, I want to make this field disabled. So this dot get view by id. What is the id of age? id age and set enabled equal to false. So I'm setting it to false. Now at the same time when the user submit on this thing only, I want to make, I don't want the full name to be editable, non-editable. I'm making it as non-editable. See, these are all different types of settings that we are doing. Okay. Now what happens is all this will trigger when you are all these steps will be executed when you're once you click the submit. What happens when you click on submit, if there is no value for the first name, it will give you the error, and if there is any value, it goes to the else statement, and it will remove those red borders, and it will also remove the message. Same for last name as well. Along with this, what it will do is when you click on submit, it will automatically remove the place of birth field from the screen. When you click on the age, when you at the same time, what it will do, it also enabled means it will disable this field. You can't edit anything, you can't enter. Okay. And at the same time, what it will do is right now set editable. Okay. Okay. Right now we are unable to edit the value on full name. When you click on submit, just because you are doing here as editable equal to true, you can edit the value in the first name. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll enter some value here, Harish and Kumar. What I'm giving, I can't here edit the full name, so I'm just putting as it is. I'm giving my age. Okay. And place of birth, Hyderabad. Okay. What happens when I click on when I click on submit, we have some validation for first name and last name, but these have some values, so it will not throw an error for first name and last name. But what happens is place of birth gets invisible, and age is disabled, but full name is now non-editable, it becomes editable. Let's submit. See, you have the place of birth but it's not visible, you have the age but it's not enabled, you have the full name. Now this field is editable, now I can enter anything here. Okay. Now you understood, Rajiv and Vivek, how we can change the properties dynamically at runtime.
Yeah, yeah, I understood.
Okay, now we are going to introduce the layouts. As we have already seen the definition of layouts, it is a mechanism which helps you to organize your UI elements. If you see our UI elements here in the application, it looks clumsy, right? It's not like how you see the applications, normal applications, right? Because if you see the first name and last name here, there is no gap, and the first name is little bit upwards, but the input is little bit down, and same for the last name. Okay, you don't want last name to visible on the right side, it should be on the next line. But here, because we don't use any proper layouts, that's the reason our application is quite clumsy. Okay, what we'll do is we'll use some layouts and we'll make our application uh, uh, and we'll organize our UI elements in a such a way that it looks good. Okay. We have many different types of layouts like simple form layout, matrix layout, grid layouts, hbox, vbox, flexbox, panel, icon, tab bar, object header, form using 2 columns and 4 column design, creating a form using various layouts. Okay, there are different types of layouts. If you go to the hbox or vbox, hbox means you can arrange your UI element horizontally. If you use the vbox, you can arrange your UI elements in a line by line manner. Flexbox. See, you can go through all these different types of layout. You can just go to SDK and go to the documentation. Sorry, samples. Here you have the different. If you press here layout, see here you have horizontal layout, grid layout, vertical layout, H box. See, you have the flex box here. You can read the description, you can have the API reference, you can use that. But I'll show some examples. Now we are going to use hbox. Hbox, where it is, grid list, not a grid list. Okay, I don't know, again, for hbox there is a different name, I think. That's the reason when I enter horizontal layout. See, again, horizontal layout is another different type of layout where you can arrange your UI elements horizontally like this, one after the another. Okay, now we'll use the vertical V box, which because you want to arrange our UI elements vertically, okay, not horizontally. So what I'll do is I'll add V box for each label. I'm going to add the V box. V box is vertical. Okay, now I'm closing here because this belongs to one particular box. I think we can also close directly here, V box. Okay, why V box doesn't have ID? That's why it's giving error. Now if you see, it will come. Now if you see, it's coming one after the another, but you want first name and a box to be visible side by side. For that you need to use hbox. Okay, and you want these two fields on the same line. So what I'll do is, okay, you need to get this close tag. What are the UI elements that you want to, you should put in the hbox. So here I'm closing the hbox. Okay, in the same manner I'm opening one more hbox and putting here inside it. Again, opening the hbox here, as well as here, as well as here. Okay, now I'm closing the hbox here, and hbox here. Okay, now you can format your document. You have different types of beautifiers here. You can use any of them. I think it didn't do anything. Format document with UI language assistant. Oh, it made clumsy. Format document with, okay, it made our application clumsy. Okay, let it be. Okay, it become very small because we have mentioned it as 20%. That's the reason. Okay, if you remove the width here, okay, now if you see, all are coming on the same line. But again, if you see, it's all are not on the same. This is somewhat same, but again, this is, you have some space here, and because of the age it has a limited. That's why it has some gap here. Again, now place of birth is quite bigger than compared to all the other fields. So if you want to make all these fields as look and feel should be good, then you need to use one UI control called simple form. Okay, here you have, if you go to demo apps, sorry, if you go to samples, when you enter simple form here, see, if you go to simple form, when you click on, see how it is looking. This is this is very much user friendly. Okay, now if you want to use the simple form, you can go to the API reference, or you can directly copy the code from here. change fragment. See, this is the simple form. Here we are starting the simple form, and in the f content you need to put. Now what we'll do is we'll use this, we'll remove all the h boxes, everything, and we'll just use the simple form layout. Okay. Okay, now I am giving the simple form control. These are all the properties of simple form. And here I'm opening the f content, so I need to close f content as well. Where I want to close, I will close at the end. Okay, f content is closed. Okay, f content is closed. I want to close simple form as well. I am closing simple form, but this error is not this is fine, but our application won't run because we are using a library called f, but which we haven't declared. So we need to declare f library. What is the f library? We are using layout form, but before that we need to have l also, but we are not using l anywhere. Okay, they are using l here, but we are not using l, so we'll just declare f in our application. Okay, now I am just formatting. Okay, now see how our application looks like. See, now this looks cool, right? Then previous address. See, this is the title of our UI application. Sorry, title of our form. Now what I'll mention here, this is the title. I'll mention it as registration form. Registration form. Okay. Okay. See how it is looking. It's looking. Uh, it's not looking. It's looking better than the previous one, right? So that's the reason we need to use this layout. Registration. It's not form. Form. Okay. Okay. Now this looks cool. Okay. Right, this is the use of layouts. Like this we have many layouts called flexbox, panel, icon, tab bar, object header. All these things you need to go through with the help of SDK. Whenever you get the free time, try to explore all the samples, how action sheet is working, what is the description that you have given, and after seeing this, now you can open the code and where they have written. If you see they have declared the button, but how they are displaying this list, that you need to know how they are displaying the list. They are opening one fragment. What is the fragment here? Again, it's an again they are giving some fragment name, action sheet view dot action sheet. There is one fragment. They have declared some fragment called action sheet. So you have this fragment action sheet. So here they are giving these buttons, all this they are doing. Okay, like this you need to explore about each and every UI control in the application. Okay, like this, but we'll mostly use 30 or 40 mainly in our applications, but but it better you need to understand about each and every UI control. Okay, for every UI control you have more than uh, for every UI control you have more than uh, two or three maximum. You have many examples. Suppose if you see here icon tab bar, you have 17 examples. Okay, you need to explore each and everything. And now till now we have completed till the layouts. The next is validating the user inputs. Validating the user input means, suppose the user has entered some value and you need to check whether the data entered by the user is proper or not. Suppose the user has entered the value we have already two fields called first name and last name. Does the first name or last name contains the numbers? For any names, if you see, for any names we don't have any numbers. But the user has wantedly entering the numbers, and when he is trying to submit, if you hit the backend directly, your backend server, in order to handle all these validations, it will give you a dump. It goes to dump. So what you need to do is, before submitting it to the server, we need to validate the user input, whether the user has entered the correct data or not. Suppose you need to check like this, whether by using the regular expressions, you need to match whether if the user has entered the numbers on the first name field, then you need to give them an error that please enter alphabets only. Okay, that you need to do, that you can do by using regular expressions. Okay, what are regular expressions? Regular expressions are nothing but it matches the pattern based on the values that we give. We need to design an regular expression which accepts only the uh, string values. Like this, you need to validate the user input. Okay, types of validation. Presence validation means, suppose when I'm using the submit, click on submit, what happening here? First name, last name is giving error, means these are the validation errors. Again, if you see, this is called the presence validation. We are checking the presence of the values. And validation, suppose the user has entered the value, but you want to check the value is the proper value or not, that is called value validation. Mandatory field means, suppose we all on the name itself suggests that if the user is not entering any mandatory field, then you need to give error. That is called mandatory validation. These are the different types of validation. Again, the pattern validation, as I have already told, if the user is entering any number instead of the alphabets, that is called pattern validation, that we can do using regular expression. Business rule validation, suppose if there is any date, in any date range, any date UI element that you have in your application, and you want the and you don't want the user to enter the date above less than today's date. That is the business rule validation, because based on the business requirement, these are the requirements which may come to you. Because suppose you are creating journey, you want to create a travel application where the user can book the tickets, where the user can tick the buckets. Suppose book the tickets, suppose if you are selecting the date of journey as yesterday, and you are trying to book the tickets, which means that the system is allowing you to select the date of the yesterday's one, which is not correct, because you can say that application is not correctly built. So what you need to do is, you not need to allow the user to select the yesterday's date. That is called as business rule validation. Like this, you have many different types of validation. Okay, next one that we have is cross field validation. What is cross field validation means? Suppose if you see the full name, this full name is dependent on first name and last name. But right now we are generating it right now we are populating it automatically. But when the user is entering the first name and last name, but he is leaving empty the full name, and when you are submitting it, while submitting it to the server, you are not passing the full name. Means this is the cross validation, means this full name is dependent on first name and last name. When you submit it, you need to give an error that first name is last name, the full name is not filled. You need to give that error as well. Okay, like this, these are the different types of validations. Okay, and exercise on validations. if you have if you have completed that exercise, then you could have gone to this exercise, but unfortunately you haven't completed that exercise. So we'll keep this exercise on hold, and at this point, we'll stop our class and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, Rajiv and Vivek, are you did you
Yeah,
understand what
yeah,
I told?
clear.
Yes.
Means what I explained today. Are you clear, or you have any doubts, or it's confusing?
No, no, nothing like that for me.
Okay, what about you, Vivek?
Yeah, yeah, fine, fine.
Okay,
So, mm,
you can ask